Forget what you've learned. The winners trade differently. Ghost in the chart warmly welcomes you. Ladies and gentlemen, they say only 10% of traders make money. But the truth is, it's not even 1%. The rest are still learning, still trying, and unknowingly being programmed to lose. Maybe you're thinking, I have my own strategy. I'm disciplined. I'm improving every day. I used to think the same until I realized everything I learned was exactly what they wanted me to learn. Just enough to believe that if I try a little harder, I'll eventually win. But no, I didn't lose because I was bad. I lost because I played by their rules. Because I thought like the 99% who got wiped out by the market. You think you're learning to succeed. You're being trained to become liquidity for someone else. This isn't a tutorial video. This is a video that pulls back the curtain. If you have the courage to listen all the way through, you'll discover a truth no one has ever dared to tell you. You're studying RSI divergence. You're practicing pattern confirmation. You're trying to understand mixed crossovers, perfect breakouts, Fibonacci levels calculated to the pip. But for what? To become a better trader, or to feel more confident before the market crushes you? Ask yourself, why is all the knowledge you're learning exactly the same? Why does every course, every class, every so-called expert teach the same recycled system? Because they all learned it from the same place. And we're all trapped in a maze of knowledge that was designed from the start. I once made a video called The Trader's Secret. Everything you're learning about trading is a tool used by the elites to manipulate you. If you haven't watched it, go back and see it. Because I didn't talk about indicators there, I talked about the force behind the knowledge. You think indicators exist to help you trade more accurately? No, they exist to make you feel you're close to being right, just before you lose willingly. You think technical patterns are the road to success? No. They are the psychological traps that lead crowds into believing they're on the right path. While the elite simply waits on the other side, the question is no longer which entry method is most accurate. The real question is, why are we all being taught to act the same? Who benefits when you buy a head and shoulders pattern? Who's on the other side when you place your stop loss at the most obvious level? If you truly want to step into the 1%, the first thing you must do is let go of everything you currently believe. Next, I'll show you the real mindset of the traders who actually make money. They don't analyze like you. They don't place trades like you. And most of all, they don't learn like you. Only 1% of traders make money, and they don't live. In your world, they're not asking where to buy. They're not wondering if that breakout is real. They don't panic because of a red candle, because they don't trade based on what they see. They trade based on the psychological structure hidden behind market behavior. You see a breakout candle. They see the blood about to spill when the crowd jumps into late. You see a confirmation signal. They see the blind confidence of people who think they're safe. You see opportunity. They see greed starting to rise, and that's when they strike. Not because a signal says buy, but because the crowd is handing them liquidity. The 1% don't act when things are clear. They act when collective belief hits its peak. When everyone believes the market will go up, they're preparing to sell. When everyone's waiting for a pullback to buy, they've already entered. When the crowd says it's too risky to hold, they know it's time for rewards. They don't need to be right often. They just need to be right in the places the crowd is too afraid to hold. Because they're not programmed to react like the other 99%. They don't look at charts as tools. They see them as walls of belief waiting to collapse. You cannot become the 1% if you still think like the 99%. Their mindset isn't about how to analyze correctly, but how to understand the crowd's mistakes and be waiting on the other side. Before everything breaks down, in the next part, I'll share the roadmap to break free from the manipulation. How I burned down everything I once believed was right and step by step. Rebuilt a trader's mindset like the true elite. If you've ever been stopped out just because you trusted a pattern too much, if the system you studied has ever betrayed you, then the next part is where you begin again. I was once full of hope, obsessed with indicators, living by the news and dying by every candle that defied my expectations. Until I shattered every old belief and stepped into a path without technical lights, only the bloodstains of those the market had devoured. And this is the journey I walked. Silent, ruthless, and sharp like a blade touching flesh. Step 1. Forget indicators. Start observing price reactions. I stopped asking whether I was overbought or oversold. I started asking why price wasn't reacting to that news event. When you stop looking at the chart as just data and begin to see it as the emotional fingerprint of the crowd, that's when your eyes open for the first time. Step 2. Stop looking for entries. Start looking for traps. Price doesn't bounce because someone is buying strong. It bounces because weak sellers just got wiped out. The 1% don't trade on logic. They trade on the crowd's panic reflex. Step 3. Don't ask when to enter. Ask what the crowd believes right now. If you're still counting waves, drawing patterns, waiting for signals, you're still playing on the field of the 99%. I started asking myself, if everyone believes the price will keep rising, then who's left to buy? When there's no one left to buy, the price only has one direction left to fall. Step 4. Hold your position not out of hope, but because you know you're on the right side. I never hold losing trades. I cut them without hesitation when I see the money has left. But when I know I'm on the right side, I hold to the end. It wasn't bravery, it was clarity. I saw the whole picture. The 1% don't look for shortcuts. They walk the right path, even when it's lonely, rough, and no one is clapping, because they know victory doesn't belong to the impatient. It belongs to those who are strong enough to see through the fog. When I began stepping away from the crowd, I didn't become better. I became quieter. I no longer got excited after a win or panicked after a loss. I stopped watching the market and started watching myself when doubt came knocking. I realized the biggest trap wasn't a technical pattern or unexpected news. It was the feeling that I had already figured out the market. The moment you believe you've mastered it, you fall into another cycle, a deeper, more sophisticated trap you won't even notice. The 1% don't try to control the market. They tame themselves. They don't win with tools. They win with silence in their inner world. I used to lose because I reacted like everyone else. A green candle made me buy. A red one made me cut. Good news made me excited. Bad news made me shrink. Not anymore. Now, I watch the deviation of expectations. I measure the madness of the crowd. And I act only when I know they're about to be betrayed by their own beliefs. I don't chase profits. I wait for the moment to strike at the weakest point of human psychology. And I leave the second the crowd starts echoing my thoughts. Because the 1% don't stay when the market becomes predictable. They vanish into the shadows to prepare for their next move. If you've come this far, I believe you're starting to understand that the market isn't a place to make money. It's a place to measure the depth of your own mind. And now, I'll share with you the most important thing of all. How to hold onto this mindset when the market turns chaotic and the screaming voices of the crowd start pressing against your ears. What comes next isn't about winning. It's about surviving as a quiet elite in the middle of madness. Now that you're still here, I'll tell you something no book, no course, no expert will say. Trading is not a skill. Trading is a state of mind. The market doesn't need you to win every trade. It only needs you to survive long enough, stay sharp enough, to tell the difference between a true signal and the desperate noise of a crowd in pain. When the market turns chaotic, you don't need more tools. You need an inner anchor. When the whole world starts trembling, you cannot afford to doubt yourself. If you've read The Psychology of the Crowd, then don't back down when they begin to scream. Mastery is not in indicators. It's in your ability to stay lucid amid the applause of those who've already lost. Mastery doesn't help you win every trade, but it keeps you from being wiped out when the market starts looking for blood. The 1% survive not because they're the best, but because they are calmer, heavier, deeper. They strike where the crowd stops thinking, and they disappear when the crowd starts to get excited. You ask, when should I enter? I say, when the noise is loud enough to drown out the reasoning of the masses. You ask, when should I hold? I say, when even you begin to doubt yourself, but your logic hasn't shifted. You ask, when should I exit? I say, the moment the crowd starts agreeing with you. Remember this if you still want to survive. The market doesn't pay the smartest. It pays those who never betray themselves. If this message resonates with you, I don't need your like or subscribe. I just want you to leave one sentence. I have stepped away from the crowd. And if someone out there is holding a losing trade, doubting themselves, sitting in the dark with a bleeding account, send them this video. Not to save them, but so they know there is another path. A quiet one, but a real one. The day I started trading this way, I stopped talking. I just observed, held my positions in silence, and left the market like I was never there. My friends doubted me. They wondered why I stopped sharing, why I was winning but not teaching them. They thought I was hiding secrets or keeping the edge. To myself, some even turned their backs on me. I understand, because if I were them, I'd be suspicious too. People who truly see the essence of the market are usually very quiet, and that silence makes others uncomfortable. I wasn't hiding anything. I just knew some things cannot be spoken. They can only be passed down through the depth of awareness. And one day, those same people who once laughed at me began listening to videos like this, and they went quiet. They didn't need to ask me anymore, because they had finally heard not a strategy, but a state of mind. If you're hearing this now, you're not alone. You're stepping out of the noise and into the calm where the survivors live. You'll no longer be the one chasing the market. You'll become the one quietly placing your orders just a step before the crowd, and exiting before they even realize what happened. From here, you don't need another method. You just need to go deeper into yourself. Remember this, the elite aren't better because of their tools. They're better because of how they endure solitude to see the truth. And if you're ready to keep going, leave one line below. I am ready to live like the 1%. And if you need someone to walk this path with you, I'm still here, quiet, but never taking my eyes off the market.